Doo-doo-doo. Hey, hello everyone. Hi America. How's it going today? Today is October the 13th, Friday the 13th, and 2023. My name is Michael Tomlinson. I am an American tutor. Um, I'm just going to kind of go through this, jump right into it, because we were talking yesterday about the spiritual battle and the first um, how we can recognize it when it enters us, like enter in the mind first. And then I also shared a story uh, yesterday about the times where I had to work a minimum wage job, and I had to live in a like in a shady part of town, so I couldn't afford to live anywhere else, right? And I was thinking about that this morning, and I'm going to continue a little bit with that story before we jump back into what's going on with the mind. And the reason I think I shared that, which is part of my life, um, is to let people know that don't. I'm not trying to compare my life with your life, or what I did and what you're doing, and what you should do and wouldn't do. There's no intention that way, but the truth of the what I said is still the same. The truth is that it was tough then. I mean, it was. I just told you how tough it was yesterday. And then what the sacrifices I had to make to be 100% on my own, and it was a struggle to do that, to live off a minimum wage job, and it was just never quite added up. Even and I couldn't even have a nice apartment. Like I said, I had to go to the really bad area of town to get an apartment. So in comparison to what's going on now, I think that's my point, is that when people or youngins want to tell me like, well, there's no jobs or there's no place, nowhere to live, I can't find an apartment, uh, and I have to disagree with you. Times it's still like what I was going through back then. You have to, people are going through right now, but they're not really going through it. Not being forced to go through it to take on a service industry minimum wage job and to live in a cheap apartment, but it's probably going to be in like an area of town where there are a bunch of cheap apartments, and that's all that can be done. That's the best that can be given. And you can't have like I couldn't have a cool apartment. I mean, and I and so it's the same. What I'm trying to say, it's the same story. So your story is not unique to me. When you try to talk to me about that and use this as a justification or an excuse and say, no, well, I can't find a place to live. Of course you can. It's just not going to be somewhere you want to live. Like, I can't find a job. Of course you can. Just not a job you want to work. Unless you have to. And there's a lot of millions of Americans that just have to do it that way. And then the people that do not kind of, downgrade the status quo of people that have to live like that. And that's what they mean by being broke and tired, or living paycheck to paycheck, or every day, one day at a time. That's what people are talking about. That is the real deal, and that has not changed since the time that I was talking to you about. So to use the times of life on life's terms right now and say, oh, it's unfair, but it was easier for you. It was not easier for me. And do not think it that way. Say, oh, it's easy for people back then, but it's tough for people like me. We can't do that. You just don't want to do it. And I relate to it. I get it. I mean, if I could have gone back to my parents' house and they would have taken me on for, a few more years, I would have been down with that. I'd been really happy with that, to be honest with you. But, that was not going to happen. And like I said, it was 100% on my own. And it was like I would have been completely homeless. In fact, I think I was, pretty much living this far away from being homeless, for a while. And that was tough. So that's the story. And the story within the story is that times have not changed. And to think that people do not relate because it was different for them, no, that's not true. I can. And I know, and I experienced it. That's the difference. That's the truth. So I get it. If you don't want to do it, I understand. I'm not going to argue with you, and you have the opportunity to not have to do it. That's even better, right? I mean, why would you want to experience what I experienced? Life on life's terms. It's it is what it is. And it helps. It helps in a lot of ways too, because it really, I had, after a while I decided, hey, I have to take some night classes to improve my life, which I did. After, I slowly started trying to get out of where I was, what my situation was. So it was like, I had to build myself up from there. And it's like a ground zero kind of thing. But it made me who I am today, right? I'm able to talk about it. Without doubt, am I able to talk about it? Thank you for hearing that part back. I just had to back reflect on yesterday and what that really means and why I was talking about it, so we all understand that part of the message. The real thing we were talking about still is how evil works in very cunning and manipulating ways, deceptive ways, by getting in people's minds. So if you start to think about hateful, just hateful thoughts toward others, then you watch out, be careful. That's the first step. That's where evil wants to enter in your brain, to get in there, to build a little bit of hate, and after a while get into the anger, and then after that go into resentment. And once people start becoming resentful, and they won't even know why they're resentful, see, or why they hate. That's what I mean by taking a deep breath, stepping back, and trying to understand where it's coming from and why you're thinking that way. If you are, I'm here to help you to stop thinking that way. And it is not as easy as we would like to think. It takes practice. It takes positive thoughts to overcome all the negative thoughts. So, it's a decision. It's a decision that everyone has to make on their own in their own way. So I can't tell you how and when or the steps to making that decision. Just tell you what's happening, and if it's happening, to start to get rid of it by thinking positive thoughts. I mean, it's you can take it to other levels, and maybe the positive thoughts will help you come up with innovative and creative ways. to help you. And if you need more tips from me on how to do that, I will be free to reveal them to you. Just, I don't know, leave a comment, but I don't want to talk about that, what's going on with that right now. It's how it sets in the mindset and turning into hate and resentment. So, and at first it's just reaction, right? It's just reaction toward things, people, places, and that it starts to manifest itself, and like thinking reaction, not really. You might be a little rude towards someone and understand, like, gosh, I'm just in a bad mood. That's a sign too, to kind of, how do we navigate around this bad mood. Not that you always have to be in a good mood, but sometimes that bad mood can turn into the next step of reaction, and another reaction, and then more hate and more hate, which goes into just being angry. And just, that's it. Once anger steps in, that's an actual emotion. You want to, get angry, break something, do something. It's just, hurt someone. That's no good. That's not the American cheer way. And nor is it a way for any human to be living out their life, especially you, because you're an amazing individual. And I know you can overcome it with what I'm talking about. And I know you know what I'm talking about too, because it's a very simple concept of how the spiritual battle begins, and how evil will work itself into people's minds. I'm not going to say just your mind, but everyone's mind. And get in their brain first. Start to get a little reactive, and becoming judgmental, or socially discriminating against others, just because that voice, saying, oh yeah, and then it expands from there, and the judgment starts to grow, social discrimination starts to grow, and then the anger starts to bubble up. When that anger comes up, it becomes resentment sometimes, and that's not a good place to be. That's when we're moving from evil into stage 2. Stage 2 is the heart. We get into taking action and becoming resentful, and to just try to spread fear. It's beyond the mindset now. It has gone to the heart. So now evil is setting into the heart, where it's just now becoming like the heart and mind are now not even yours, and you won't even realize it. You'll think that but you won't know. And I don't care how religious you are, how much of a Christian you are, how much of a Catholic you are. It will work the same way, okay? And you won't even know it. You're just thinking that it's natural, it's normal, but it's not natural, and it's not normal, and it's not in harmony with the rest of your body and with the rest of the universe. It starts to feed into hateful action once it gets into the heart and past the mind. But that mindset is the first battle. The part 2 of the battle is in the heart. And there's other parts to it too. And so there's, I'm giving you an understanding. And just for a disclaimer, it's just my understanding. I didn't read this. I didn't watch any kind of video on this. This is how I see it. This is my truth to how evil works. And only because I've experienced it over and over and over again, with people. And to see it and watch it manifest in others, I can also see the aura being contaminated. It's not white anymore. It's a little like turning tan, starting to get a little darker, some black spots maybe developing, and that's where the evil starts to attach itself, evil energy, and the spreading of evil energy. That's when it's making that transition, of, looking for others maybe to ally with to help build that up and to taint them too, spread that black aura, to others. And like I said, most people don't even know that's what they're doing. They think they're, and you think you're like, oh, I'm just, maybe you're, and that's, you won't even stop to ask yourself, am I being selfish? Am I being mean? Am I acting out in ways that I shouldn't be acting out? Those answers are yes, then yes, you're doing it. You just don't want to admit it. You want to deny it. And that, and things start to take toll. Lies start to formulate. Action of deception from the mind to the heart. Action, that's what I'm saying. It's like once it works into the heart, people start to take weird and crazy action. And they won't really stop to ask why. And because it's a back trail of this long-term whispering of evil in someone's ear, and eventually we all become weak. And we're just human. This is just flesh. We're all human. We have our weak moments. The one thing I should say, if we can catch it while it's in our mind, it's going to be easier to push it away, and you'll win that battle. Not to say it won't be back, but you'll know it, you'll recognize it, and that's important. I guess it's important to me that you know that how it works, and then that's when you stop at the end of the day and wonder, like, why am I so greedy? Why am I so selfish? Why am I, hurting other people? I'm just trying to gain more and more and more and think of it like me, and thinking that's normal. And it's not normal. And you'll know it. Your mind will tell you this is not good. And guilt and shame will start to step in. Embarrassment, maybe. You're just going to feel embarrassed about yourself. And if someone, and it can grow, this a little spark of that kind of hate can grow into a major fire without you realizing it too. And it's going to be out of control. And then you're going to find yourself really feeling ashamed, really feeling guilty. And I don't want that to happen to you. You're an amazing individual. I believe in you. There's value in you. Okay? Well, I'm going to wrap it up now. Thank you for your time. Thank you for hearing me out. We're going to talk more about this later, really, really soon. Okay? Have an excellent day, my friend. Drink fluids, get some exercise, eat right, and we'll talk again later, okay? Peace, love,